Right, please can I welcome everyone to this first virtual meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. The time is 10 a.m. This is a Winchester City Council meeting held under new regulations which came into effect on the 4th of April 2020 in response to the COVID-19 situation. My name is Councillor Fiona Mather, Chairman of this subcommittee. There are a few housekeeping matters to run through. First of all, please can I ask everyone present in this virtual meeting that your microphones remain muted and your camera is turned off whilst you are not addressing the meeting, as this will reduce background noise and avoid any unintentional disturbances. Please can I also advise that this meeting is being audio recorded and live streamed from the website and then can be found next to the meeting's details when the recording will remain thereafter. I should say where the recording will remain thereafter. The MS Teams meeting will also now be recorded with the video uploaded to the Council's YouTube channel after the meeting. Members and officers, where appropriate for each item, please use the chat function of the meeting to indicate that you wish to speak or to raise a point of order or explanation, and I will invite you to then speak at the appropriate time. Each member will be invited to speak in turn. Therefore, I would encourage all members to keep your contributions as clear and concise as possible, please. When speaking and referring to the agenda papers, please make sure that you reference the page or paragraph number. Thank you. Please note the duration of this virtual meeting is normally 2 hours, no more than 2 hours. And any business not conducted after this time may therefore be deferred to an alternative date. Please can I now ask the Democratic Services Officer to undertake a roll call of members of the subcommittee to confirm who is present this morning. Nancy.
Thank you. Well, Councillor Mather,
I'm here. I'm present.
If I can ask the other councillors when I call your name to unmute your microphone and turn on your camera just to confirm you are present, please. Councillor Bentote.
Present.
Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Bento. And Councillor Green.
Present.
Thank you. That's the 3 members of the subcommittee. Thanks, Chair.
Very good. Thank you. Welcome again to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. The hearings regulations require that the hearing should take the form of a discussion led by the subcommittee and that cross-examination will not normally be allowed. We will be following the adopted procedure for these hearings, which is set out on the reverse of the agenda paper. And the procedure is also on pages 2 to 3 of the online agenda pack available. Each party will be allowed equal maximum time to exercise their rights at the hearing. I will exercise my discretion to allow additional time if necessary, taking into account the requirement to allow all parties equal maximum time. Only those points contained in the written representations, the report and supplementary documents can be raised. No new evidence can be considered except with the agreement of all parties. I introduced myself already. I'm Councillor Fiona Mather. Derek and Roger, will you introduce yourselves? Turn on your microphone briefly. Roger.
Yes, good morning, I'm Councillor Derek Green.
And Roger.
Yes, I'm Councillor Bentote.
Excellent, thank you. And the applicant, that is on behalf of Sainsbury's, could you please introduce yourself and the legal representative? Is that Joanne Sergei?
It's Robert Bockar here. I'm the legal representative. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Yes, yes, excellent.
Yeah, Joanne is here from Sainsbury's, so she'll say hello. Andrew Sanders is here supporting me, but he doesn't expect to participate unless I fall off my chair. If that's okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, thank you for introducing yourself. And the officers in this virtual meeting will now introduce themselves.
Good morning. Oh, sorry.
Bryony? Yes, thank you.
Good morning. So my name is Bryony. I'm a licensing officer at Winchester City Council.
Thank you very much. And Nathan?
Good morning, everyone. My name's Nathan Mountney. I'm a solicitor with Winchester City Council.
Thanks. And then Nancy?
My name is Nancy Graham. I'm a Democratic Services Officer at Winchester Council.
And Claire?
Claire Buchanan, here to minute the meeting from Democratic Services. Thank you.
Thanks very much. The subcommittee has read all the written comments on the application, which are included in the report. I understand that the following person wishes to address the subcommittee. That is Councillor Robert Shields on behalf of Bishop's Waltham Parish Council. You could introduce yourself briefly if you like, Councillor Shields.
Robert Shields, I'm the Vice Chairman of the Planning and Highways Committee in Bishop's Waltham Parish Council.
Thank you very much. We can only consider issues relating to the 4 licensing objectives: prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, protection of children. The subcommittee will also have regard to the national guidance and the council's licensing policy. And now, Bryony, could I please ask you to introduce the paper?
Thank you, Chair. So good morning, everyone. This application is for the grant of a new premises licence under Section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003. The premises is a supermarket located on Winchester Road in Bishop's Waltham, and it is currently occupied by Budgeon's stores. The application proposes the sale by retail of alcohol as the only licensable activity between the hours of 6 AM and midnight, Monday to Sunday. Alcohol will be supplied for consumption off the premises only. The application also proposes that the premises will be open 24 hours a day. The full application is shown on pages 17 to 35 of your document pack. Following consultation with Hampshire County Council's Trading Standards team, the applicant agreed to amend the hours for the sale by retail of alcohol to between 6 AM and 11 PM, Monday to Sunday. During the consultation period, Hampshire Constabulary's police licensing team also liaised with the applicant and agreed a number of conditions to be attached to the licence if it's granted. These conditions are shown on pages 13 to 15 of your document packs. 1 valid representation was received from Bishop's Waltham Parish Council, which is against the application, and the representation refers to the licensing objectives of prevention of public nuisance, prevention of crime and disorder, and public safety. The representation also refers to the current operating hours of the Budgeon's store and draws some comparisons. The representation is shown on page 37 of the document pack. For the subcommittee's information, the Budgeon's store premises licence permits the sale by retail of alcohol between 8 AM and 11 PM Monday to Saturday, and 10 AM and 10:30 PM on Sundays, and the opening hours mirror these times. Hampshire Constabulary have kindly provided us with some crime statistics for this premises from the last 12 months, which we hope will provide the subcommittee and other parties with some context. In the last 12 months, the police have received 3 crime reports in relation to this premises, 2 reports of theft, and 1 of antisocial behaviour. Members are reminded that individuals wishing to speak to the subcommittee may only refer to the comments made in their written representation. It is my understanding that the applicant and Bishop's Waltham Parish Council have continued discussions whilst awaiting this hearing, and some email correspondence has indicated to me that they may have reached a compromise, but I will allow both parties to clarify this when they address the subcommittee. If the subcommittee were minded to grant this licence, there are conditions in section 5 of the report to consider. Although the conditions in italics have been agreed with Hampshire Constabulary, the subcommittee may reword these as they feel appropriate to promote the licensing objectives. So I welcome any comments or questions in relation to this report. Thank you.
just to clarify, just for starters. So the hours for alcohol that are being applied for till 11 p.m. would actually now they would be the same as the hours that Budgeons has had.
Correct.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Green, do you have any questions of the licensing officer?
Excuse me. No, you've just asked exactly the same questions I was going to ask. So.
Right. And Councillor Bentode, is that all clear? Any clarification needed?
No, I think that's clear enough for me. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Bryony.
Chair, I believe Bryony might be indicating. Oh, you had your hand up, Bryony. Was that?
I did. I'm sorry. I just wish to clarify that the terminal hour for the sale of alcohol would mirror that Budgeons currently have, but the starting hour would not.
Okay, so the starting hour, just to repeat, is
so the proposal
6 in the morning.
Correct, and Budgeons have from 8 in the morning,
right,
Monday to Saturday, and they have from 10 a.m. on Sundays.
Yes, we do have a letter from Sainsbury's in the pack, but that's obviously different from what they're applying for.
I believe that Bishop's Waltham Parish Council intend to refer to this letter in their presentation
right,
to you.
Open between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Bryony. So the applicant or the applicant's representative will now address the subcommittee. Is that Mr. Bokai?
It is, yes.
Yes, thank you.
I wonder whether, just for a further point of clarification on Brian's report, the current licence for Budgeons is 10:30 p.m. on a Sunday, not 11. It would be really useful because I have been corresponding with the parish council. Sorry, you've all gone blank. You can still hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
fine.
So it's quite unnerving when the screen just goes pink. We have offered to amend the application to 7 o'clock in the morning to 11 p.m. 7 days a week on the basis that the parish council withdraws. And I appreciate this was late and that it was too late for them to go to a full meeting. But I wonder whether the councillor attending would be able to comment on whether now the parish council has agreed the application. It just might help everybody today. I appreciate this is out of turn, but it may help us to move forward.
I mean, we're used to this sort of thing happening, and that licensing subcommittees are a sort of we're on a moving carpet. So, Councillor Shields, could you confirm that if the application is amended, that the parish council would withdraw its representation, amended to 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and is that's for sale of alcohol and for opening?
Just to clarify, the opening hours we ask to be left to planning. So we're not applying for 24-hour opening.
Yes.
On all of our licenses, we prefer that the opening hours are not curtailed because it's not a licensable activity.
Yes.
So the premises license shouldn't be saying what time we can sell a box of cornflakes.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I think there's some confusion there. We're not applying for 24-hour opening. We are applying now for permission to sell alcohol from 7 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
Right. So thank you very much. Mr. Shields, it has been suggested by Mr. Bokai that in the discussions that have taken place between the applicant and the parish council have agreed to withdraw their representation if the hours for the sale of alcohol are amended to 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Could you confirm that that is true? Thank you. Or say what you wish to say. Yes.
That wasn't an agreement that was reached.
No, sorry, I didn't say that it had. I'm sorry.
No,
I
know
didn't say it'd be.
I know you didn't, but the chairman.
Okay, okay. Sorry, put it in your own words.
Sorry?
In my words, it was an offer that the parish council made that we amend the application 7M. We invite them to withdraw their representation. I didn't say that they'd agreed it.
Right.
I know that.
Okay.
Your
Okay.
secretary. Thank you. My question is: Do you now agree the application? Does the parish council now agree the application and withdraw their representation? That would just be helpful to know.
No. And I can make that statement now if you wish. Do you want me to explain the reason?
No. I mean, if you don't withdraw your application, we will wait until that time of the. If you don't remove your objection, we will wait till that time in the agenda for you to explain why. But so we'll proceed with the agenda as we were going to before Mr. Bokai made that statement. So, Mr. Bokai, could you continue, please?
Yes, thank you. Right, so this is it's going to be a new Sainsbury's store. We've acquired the store from Budgeons. As Brownie said, the Budgeons license was 8 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, Monday to Saturday, 10 to 10:30 on Sundays. Those were the old Licensing Act hours. So I suspect that the store was previously licensed under the 1964 Act, and the off-license hours under the 64 Act were always 8 to 11, 10 to 10:30. That would have carried over onto the premises license and probably not touched in any great way. I may be wrong, but that would suggest why those hours are there. The Sainsbury's store Sainsbury's taking over the staff from Budgeons. They become known as colleagues when they work for Sainsbury's. We did apply for 6 to 12, which is really our standard application. We then had discussions with Steve Lawford, your senior licensing enforcement officer, and we amended the application then 6 to 11. We have had discussions with your police licensing officer, Colin Pollard, and we agreed to get additional conditions on training and refusals. And those conditions are in your committee report, pages 14 and 15. So those are all agreed by Sainsbury's. That left us just with the parish council representation, and we thought that by amending further to 7:11, that the parish council would then be satisfied and would withdraw their representation on the basis that the terminal hour, is very much in line with Budgeons, say for Sunday, which is 11 p.m, which we probably can't use anyway because of Sunday trading, the current Sunday trading laws. So the parish council concerns appear to be relating to, interestingly, they repeat, I think, 3 times that there've been no issues with the Budgeons. So we've got no issues with the current licence at all, and no issue with the Budgeons. And so on that basis, we don't expect there suddenly to be an increase in issues for the residents and parish council once Sainsbury's takes over. So I guess the question would be: is this change of hours of going to 7:11 likely to increase the difficulties? The parish council are concerned that there will be more people coming to the store if we have extended hours. Well, we don't expect, if we are open between 7 and 8 in the morning, we don't expect it to be very busy. We don't have current plans to open from 7. It's probably going to be 8, but we do prefer to have that flexibility, particularly at seasonal times, to open earlier. But we don't expect that to present a public nuisance to the residents. In fact, the opposite. It provides a service, a local shopping opportunity. There's a concern that the increase in hours will provide opportunities for people to buy alcohol after other outlets have closed. Well, that's clearly not the case if we're stopping alcohol sales at 11 p.m, which is the same time as Budgeons, so there's no increased opportunity. Perhaps 30 minutes on a Sunday, but that's only if the Sunday trading legislation is amended. So there's really no, looking at the parish council objection, which seems to be about extending the terminal hour, the late night hours, and people coming from pubs late at night and coming into the Sainsbury's. That's all gone, and that's why we were really very hopeful that by amending the application to 11 p.m. that the parish council would agree to withdraw their representation, and this hearing would not have been necessary if they had been minded to do so. So we can talk to you about Sainsbury's, about training. Joanne is the Sainsbury's manager nationally, so she covers England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. So if you have any questions about Sainsbury's generally, or their licensing, or their training, then she'll be very happy to answer those questions. We haven't got a great deal more to say. You're all familiar with the Sainsbury's store. It'll have the up-to-date CCTV. They operate Challenge 25. They provide a very important service, particularly at the moment. And interestingly enough, the extended hours are important. So the 7 a.m. could be important, particularly if we have further restrictions, because it enables certain categories of people to shop in a quieter time. And that's proved to be very important over the last few months. So very happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Councillor Green, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, just one thing though, Chair. I thought it was our job to grant the licence, not the parish council. I mean, I think we're getting a bit confused here, because the gentleman there was saying that if the parish council withdrew their comments, so I think we're getting a little bit confused somewhere along the line.
The parish council is the reason as to why this hearing is taking place, because we have an objection from the parish council, who in this context are an other person, in quotes. So
can I answer the question, Chair?
Yeah, I'm probably good.
Yeah, there's no confusion. If the parish council had withdrawn their representation on Friday, there would have been no representations outstanding, and so the hearing would have been cancelled and the licence would have been granted. So the only reason we are here today is because the parish council did not withdraw their representation. So I'm not suggesting that they grant the licence, but that's the way licensing works. If there are no representations,
it gets automatically.
It gets granted by delegated authority. So we are here today to consider the representations of the parish council. That's what the hearing is called for. So we need to know what their concerns are in relation to this application.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting confused, obviously. Cheers.
Councillor Bento, do you have a question? Any questions?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine.
No.
Right. Yes. Well, I think thank you very much, Mr. Bokai. I think you've made your position quite clear. So now I think we'll move on. Sorry, Roger, are you still speaking or no? Just about to mute. Right, thank you. So Councillor Shields, could you please now address the subcommittee? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Parish Council had no issue with the steps that would be taken by Sainsbury's to promote all four licensing objectives together. The objection is based solely upon the opening hours of the store, and specifically being open after 10 p.m, the time the store has been advertised as being due to close. The store is adjacent to a residential area almost exclusively occupied by elderly and vulnerable people. At the moment, Bishop's Waltham is a relatively peaceful and crime-free town, but there is increasing evidence of young people coming in at evenings. The Parish Council would not want any inducement to attract the more unruly elements later at night. The application form states the opening hours of the store are not a licensable activity, and the applicant asks that the hours not be restricted by the premise licence. Obviously, there is no such restriction, and there only would be at a later date if the applicant decides to keep their store open after the opening hours for the granted licence. The applicant has already widely publicised the closing hours for the store as 10 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 4 p.m. on Sundays. On this basis, the Parish Council and the residents of Bishop's Waltham have welcomed the imminent arrival of Sainsbury's. The Parish Council requests that the Licensing Subcommittee restricts the opening hours of Sainsbury's store to 10 p.m. for the preservation of the social ambience of Bishop's Waltham and to ensure that the applicant honours the commitments they have made with the public. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Shields, are there any other premises, retail premises in Bishop's Waltham open after 10 p.m?
There could be, not adjacent to...
How about the co-op? How about the co-op?
Well, that's in the middle of the high street. That's not in near residential premises.
Yes. Councillor Green, have you got any questions of the applicant?
You mean the
Sorry, the
Parish Council? No, not at the moment. Not at the moment, thank you.
Councillor Bentode?
Yeah, if I could just clarify, Mr. Shields, he's obviously referring to the letter which went to residents to say what the opening hours would be, and I see that this letter was written on the 27th of July, and the application for licensing and opening was made on the 29th. It seems a strange situation that the two are totally conflicting in the hours that they're mentioning. And I'm pretty sure I would agree with Mr. Shields that if residents were aware that it was going to be a 24-hour opening with the later licensing, there might well have been more objections from the residents, particularly those living in Malt Close, which bounds is right adjacent to the site. So I'm a bit disappointed with Sainsbury's in putting out a letter to residents. I know it's not part of the licensing, so that's what I've been told. I did raise it with licensing officers. It has people having received this letter will not have bothered to go and look at the notices on budgeons saying what the licensing hours were going to be. They say, oh yes, it's Sainsbury's coming, I know that, I've got the letter, thank you very much. So I don't know if Mr. Shields would like to comment on that.
Well, thank you very much. That's exactly the basis of our point. This has been widely advertised amongst the residents of Bishop's Waltham. They all have from Sainsbury's a letter here stating that the store will be open until 10 p.m. That's what we expect. And we're asking that Sainsbury's should honour their commitment.
Sorry, would you like me to come back on that to explain the position? Because clearly, is it okay if I speak? I appreciate that we're getting slightly out of order.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Well, first of all, my understanding is that the store probably will close at 10. We're getting confused between licensing and store opening hours, and please forgive me if everybody understands this already. There is a license from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. We could simply transfer that license from budgeons to Sainsbury's, and so we'd maintain those hours. So budgeons had a license to 11 o'clock at night, but they chose to operate the store until 10 o'clock at night. So that was their choice, but they could have traded until 11 o'clock at night. So we could simply transfer that license over to Sainsbury's. We haven't done so. We've applied for a new license because of the changes, the alterations that we need a new plan, new layout plan. And also, just there's a technical difficulty of applying for the alterations between exchange and completion. I can explain that a bit more. It's a gap in the Licensing Act. When you're buying premises, you're not in a position to alter anything on the premises license. So we normally apply for a new license. So as far as I know, the store hours that were stated in the letter from, I think it was Christian Wakelin. I'm not aware of any immediate change to those hours. What we are asking for on the licence is the same sort of flexibility that Budgeons had, in that we would be able to trade longer hours if there was the need and demand to do so. So there's been no intention to mislead. I understand that it's confusing because of the distinction between opening hours and licensing hours. It's very common for licensing hours to be longer than the hours that the store actually trades. So there's been no intention to mislead. I accept that there perhaps could have been a better communication between the communications team and the licensing and my office, as I accept that. So I wasn't aware of this letter until it was circulated last week. So apologies if that's caused any confusion. No intention to mislead. I think we'll probably find that the hours will be similar to those operated with Budgeons, but we may extend those hours, or we may be with a bit more flexibility. We're not aware of any reason why the store trading from 7 to 11 at this location would actually cause any of the problems that the parish council is now raising. I understood their concern to be if we were trading up to midnight, but if we were trading to 11, we wouldn't expect that to cause any problems at all for the local community. And of course, you would need some evidence that is the case. And all of the evidence from the parish council, there's been no issues at all with the Budgeons hours.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Shields, would you accept that Sainsbury's are applying for broadly the same alcohol licensing hours, except I think they've got, is it 1 hour extra in the morning, as Budgeons? And really it's the same position. Budgeons didn't choose to open till 11 p.m. They closed at 10. Sainsbury's are not choosing to open till 11 p.m. They are saying that they will close at 10, which is broadly the same as what Budgeons were doing. So in fact, the main difference is probably that 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Application to sell alcohol in the morning. I mean, what is your comment on that? Does it seem more acceptable when you start thinking what Budgeons has already and what Budgeons were doing, and that Sainsbury's is likely to do something very similar? Does that seem more acceptable?
Well, firstly, the morning hours are not a concern to us at all. It is only the PM
you haven't made a representation about the morning hours. Yeah.
No. It is purely the evening hours. And yes, you can continue comparing with Budgeons or the Co-op or anyone else, but we're not considering them. We're considering Sainsbury's on its merits. And the issue here is that, yes, maybe Budgeons closed at 10 and they still had a license that was 11, and that's the evidence, and it's been that way for years and years of evidence. We have Sainsbury's telling us what they might do. Well, they're a commercial organisation, I fully accept that, and it would not be difficult for them suddenly to increase their opening hours up till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, if they've got the licensable activities right up to then, and you know, we have no assurance that that's going to be the case. We would still maintain 10 o'clock, and if they want to increase the licensing hours, goodness me, they can come before the committee and ask for an increase of licensing hours. That's not difficult. But at the moment, the parish council position, and I represent the parish councillors who met in August on this, is quite clear. They would want the licensing hours and the opening hours to be coincident as far as closing is concerned at 10 p.m. And you know, Sainsbury's is an honourable company. They're a good company. We welcome them coming. Let me be absolutely clear. People welcome them coming. But one does not know what's going to happen in the future, whereas we do know what happened in the past with Budgeons.
You accept that that the opening hours will be a matter for a planning application?
Yes. In the normal way, yes.
Yes.
Chair, if I could just come back on that. My understanding, I've just been checking back through, and the intention is to trade 7 till 10 at this store, but we are applying for 11 p.m. just in order that we can have the same flexibility that Budgeons had. I'm a bit disappointed that everything that sort of Sainsbury's is regarded somehow in a different way to Budgeons. The residents in the parish council were perfectly happy for Budgeons to have the flexibility of 11 p.m, but they don't seem to want Sainsbury's to have the flexibility of 11 p.m. I don't quite understand that. The parish council saying that Sainsbury's is a commercial organisation. Well, believe me, so is Budgeons. So the intention is honourable. It's to close at their current plan is to close the store at 10 p.m. But the existing license is 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday, 10:30 Sunday, and we're just looking for that extra flexibility. It's completely wrong to be asking the committee to curtail both the opening hours and the licensing hours. With respect, it's not this committee's role to restrict the opening hours of a supermarket. It's about the licensing hours rather than the opening hours. I appreciate there can be some confusion about how planning sits with licensing. So I don't think, I really don't think we're very far apart at all. And I'm grateful that Parish Council is not objecting to the 7 a.m. change, which is actually the significant change. The terminal hour change, we're only talking about effectively 30 minutes on Sunday night, which we probably can't use anyway because of Sunday trading. And frankly, if the application were refused, we could simply transfer the old license over and get the 11 o'clock license. I'm not saying that as a threat. That would be open to us, simply transfer the old license over. So it's a nonsense to have to start the process again, as the councillor is saying. It's easy for us to apply for a variation. Why should we do that? We've applied now for these hours. Why should we have to apply again for the hours that we're seeking today? So does that make any sense?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Unless either Councillor Derek Green or Councillor Roger Bento have any further need for clarification, we will retire to in camera as we normally do, but this time it will be to a different MS Teams meeting to deliberate and come back with our decision. So I think what I'm supposed to say is the audio minute broadcast will be paused while we are in private session, but will restart when we return to the open session of the meeting.
Councillor, before you finish, is Nathan Mountney, solicitor for the council? Could somebody send me the link for our meeting following this? I don't have it yet.
Nathan, it will be issued. We haven't issued it yet. It will be issued as we go into it.
So I'm about to read that paragraph, I think. Subcommittee members, there will be a short pause in proceedings while I ask Nancy to send you a new Teams invite to the private meeting. In a moment, can you please hang up from this open meeting? If you can wait a few moments, you will receive a Teams calendar invitation for the exempt session. Please go to your Teams calendar, and on today's page, you will see a meeting called Private Meeting for Licensing Subcommittee. Please open this invitation to join the private meeting. This Teams invite will only include the 3 subcommittee members, the legal officer and democratic services officer. When we have finished our discussion in private, there will be another short pause when subcommittee members will be asked to hang up from the private Teams meeting session and rejoin the original open session. Other officers present and other attendees of this subcommittee can, if they wish, remain in the open session of the meeting as the other subcommittee members and I will rejoin after our private deliberations in order to announce our determination.
Chair, just before we go into private, I can see Mr. Botkai has his hand up. I don't know if you wish to say something.
Yeah,
Mr. Botkai, yes. Go on.
Yeah, just very quickly. Your legal advisor, I think, said at the beginning that you are able to change the wording of the conditions as part of your decision. If you are minded to change anything or change any of the wording on the conditions which has been agreed with the licensing enforcement officer and the police, I'd be grateful if I had the opportunity just to address you on any changes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Right, Chair, so we will leave this open session for now.
Thank you very much.
Nancy will do another roll call to check that we're back in this meeting of the subcommittee.
Councillor Mather.
Present.
Councillor Green.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Bentote.
Present.
Thank you.
Excellent. In reaching its decision, the subcommittee has carefully considered the application, the representations made by Bishop's Waltham Parish Council, and the applicant's evidence given today. It has taken into account the Council's statement of licensing policy, the Home Office guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, the duties under the Crime and Disorder Act 1998, and the rights set out in the Human Rights Act 1998. The subcommittee has considered the evidence of police incidents arising on this site in the last year. According to police reports, 2 thefts and 1 incident of antisocial behaviour. I make reference to the Parish Council letter. The Parish Council is not aware of any incidents at the current premises. The subcommittee has concluded that the application should be granted with the conditions set out in Section 5 of the officer's report for the following reasons. The subcommittee considers that the conditions attached to the licence, particularly those conditions agreed between Hampshire Constabulary, the applicant, and Hampshire County Council trading standards, will adequately promote the licensing objectives of the prevention of public nuisance, prevention of crime and disorder, and public safety. The parties will be formally notified of the decision in writing shortly. This notification will include details of the right to appeal against this decision to the Magistrates' Court, which must be made within 21 days of the notification. That concludes the formal business for this meeting. May I thank you all very much for attending. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just clarify the hours of 7 to 11? I may have missed that. I apologise.
Sorry. Well, we granted the hours as set out in the report. We considered that the hours, have we ended the recording? Oh, right. We granted the hours as set out in the report.
Which are what?
They are 6 to 11.
Right. Can I just? Can you?
Oh, right. Okay. They were amended, were they not?
Yes, yes, we did. I wouldn't want the parish council to think we've got something more than we were asking for. So we did agree to amend to 7.
You agreed to amend to 11, but you also agreed to amend to 7.
Yeah, 7-11 is what we.
I thought when we discussed that in camera, and we felt that the 7 o'clock was only something offered as a bait to kind of withdraw. To withdraw the representation.
Yeah. Can I just? Is Joanne still? Can I just check what?
Yeah, I'm here, Robert.
7-11, Joe, or because I'm just looking back to what we said to the parish council. I wouldn't want to do anything.
Listening, I'm here. I'm just looking at the document myself. I'm just looking at those conditions, see if it's stipulated in the conditions that were agreed.
I did write to the parish council saying that Sainsbury's will agree to amend its application to 7 to 11. I wouldn't want to be seen to be going back on that.
Yeah, I agree, Robert, that we already had that discussion and we agreed to reduce it to 7 to 11.
I think that was the intention from the conversation we had, so 7 to 11.
7 to 11.
So in that case, I will amend what I've just said, adding in with the following amendment. So as with the conditions set out in section 5 of the report, with the following amendment, that the hours are, the licensing hours should run from 7 a.m. to 23 p.m.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And is that Monday to Saturday and then Sunday?
Monday to Saturday.
Is that correct?
And
No,
Monday to Saturday.
It's 7 days a week.
7 days a week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And this now ends the formal business of the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.